What is the best value performance upgrade that you can do on your stock Harley Davidson? Let's get into it.
RevelatorAlf.
Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. I hope you're all well. Yes, on the back roads here again with the heroic Harley. So I thought I'd make this video for a lot of you guys who are buying your stock Harley Davidson, let's say, or you have bought them in the past and you still got it stock, and you've always wondered about what is the best performance upgrade to do, and also considering how much it's going to cost you. Now, as we all know, that you buy a Harley Davidson, which in itself can cost quite a lot of money, of course, but then you start adding all the accessories and all the performance upgrades that you can do, and it can get incredibly expensive. In fact, it's probably out of reach for a lot of people, and so I fully understand that, and that's the purpose of this video, really, is to analyze, or quickly analyze, what performance you're expecting to get and how much is it going to cost you, and possibly what one component could you put on your bike that's going to give you the most noticeable performance feel without breaking the bank. Okay, so let's just talk about a couple of things that people normally associate with Harley Davidsons, and we call these stage upgrades. So stage one is the most common performance upgrade that you can do. So you change the air cleaner, you change the exhaust, and you put a tuner on the bike, and that's basically your stage one. But let's just break those down individually. Okay, so let's just take the air cleaner individually. So you put on a high flow air filter on your bike, and you don't do anything else. So especially on the soft tails, you can change either the exhaust or the air cleaner by itself, and you won't have to have a tuner on the bike, because the ECM has about 10%, 12% latitude to allow for that. So basically, a bigger air cleaner with greater surface area, let's say, or that allows more air to flow through it, it's going to allow your engine to breathe a little bit more. But how much performance are we actually talking about, or performance benefit? Well, we're talking about, let's say, 1-2% performance benefit if you're really lucky. And that air cleaner can cost you a lot of money, in the hundreds of pounds, dollars, shekels. It really depends which one you get, of course. So yes, in itself, it's going to give you a very small performance gain, but it's going to cost you quite a lot of money. Okay, let's talk about the exhaust. So the exhaust end can, the muffler, which is the most common performance upgrade that people do. Everything else you keep the same, but you just do that performance upgrade of the exhaust can. For the most part, all that does is change the tone of your exhaust. It doesn't really give you that much of a performance jump. Now it does, there's no doubt it does, maybe again 1 or 2%, but not much more than that. If you wanted to have a significant performance change from your exhaust, and I'm only talking about 5 or 6% in total, 7% maybe, you'll need to have a complete exhaust system, something in the region of about 800 to 1,000 pounds, dollars, shekels, depending on where you're buying it from. This is brand new, of course. Of course, you can try and buy used components, but this is brand new. So for a small percentage gain, in isolation, of course, you could spend 300, 400, 500 pounds just for an end can, a muffler, or 800, 1,000 pounds, 1,200 pounds, whatever it is, for a complete exhaust system. So again, a lot of money for a relatively small performance gain. Now, I suppose, again, when I talk about Harley Davidsons, I never consider them as performance machines. If I wanted a performance machine, I'd go and buy a sports bike, or a grand sports tour or something like that. Something that's got lots of power, lots of horsepower, and away I go. So yes, I fully understand the performance upgrades that you can do on Harley Davidsons, and yes, and they can make them feel a lot better. But all I'm saying is that you're taking a non-performance motorcycle and you're trying to add a little bit more performance to it, but just that little addition is going to cost you a lot of money. So how do you get more performance, or how do you make it seem as if it's got more performance for about £300 or £400? And I think you've already guessed it. So for me, the best performance add-on, or the best value for money, is just to put a tuner on it. Now, for the most part, people associate having a power commander, a tuner, whatever you want to call it, on a motorcycle in combination with everything else, you know, a new exhaust or different air cleaner or a different induction module or something else, whatever it is. And yes, to get the best performance package, you should really have everything else as well. But if we're talking about in isolation, the tuner itself, you don't need a different exhaust, you don't need a different air cleaner. By putting a tuner on your bike for about £300 or £400 is going to allow you not only to feel better throttle response, you can modulate how the bike runs through different RPM ranges. You might be able to change the mapping of the bike and also the fuel consumption of that through the RPM ranges as well, and through the different power levels that are required. With some tuners, you can change the throttle response as well. You can make it very dull, or you can make it medium sensitivity or hypersensitivity, if you really want to call it that. You know, every Softail that comes out, or every Tourer that comes out brand new stock from the manufacturer, yes, they've dulled down that throttle response. That's why you put a tuner on, to open up that throttle response. Even the brand new motorcycles from 2021 with the new ECMs and the new Sportster S, the Nightster and the Pan America, they come with a muted throttle response. Now that they can start incorporating tuners for those motorcycles and for the 2021 and above Harley Davidsons, because they've got a new ECM, yes, you can change the throttle response on that, so everything will just appear a little bit more crisper. It'll just be a little bit more refined. But obviously beware, because you've put a tuner on there, and if you get it completely wrong with a manual setting of a tune, then you can completely screw up how your bike is running. But for the stock maps that you can get, the mapping, the program, the software as it were, for your fuel delivery and for your airflow delivery, let's say, as well, but the tuner is going to be the best thing to up your performance for not a lot of money. And the great thing about a tuner, for some riders, will be that you can have a stealth bike, in that you can still run it as stock, it still seems as stock, but it'll just feel a little bit more. You'll open up the rev range, you'll open up, and maybe there's a speed limiter on there, the power through the RPM range, the throttle response, you'll open all that up, but the bike will still appear absolutely stock. Then you could change the air filter, let's say, for a higher flow and air filter, but still have the bike as stock. It's a bit of a sleeper. So whilst everybody else is spending £3,000, £4,000, £5,000 shekels to have work done on their bike and to have those performance upgrades, you can spend £300 or £400 just on a tuner, and you'll pretty much match anything that they can do, because most people only ever ride their bikes normally. Very, very rarely do they ride it to their full potential. So your bike, your stock bike with a tuner, will actually be able to match anybody else on their bikes as well. Harleys, I'm talking about. Let us know what you think. You know, is the tuner the best value for money that you can invest in to get a performance upgrade? And forget about the exhaust, forget about the air cleaner, forget about, you know, changing your cams. Is just the tuner itself the best value? I think it is, but I could be completely wrong. This is only my opinion, but it just seems logical to me that you can open up the performance of the bike without actually changing anything at all. Let us know your thoughts, but don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, like and share. Check out the website RevelatorAlf.com. Let us know in the comments below, for £400, dollars, shekels, whatever it is, what's the best performance upgrade that you can do on your motorcycle, on a Harley Davidson. Catch you again. Ta-da.